Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Esther Onwachuku, and of course, basically, if you haven't subscribed to EstiQ Media, kindly do so now. Yeah, click on the subscribe button. Follow, like, share, comment. You can also download all our other previous episodes. Now, on EstiQ Media, right, we have varieties of contents right in there for you. All you need to do is to download any one of your choice on any of these platforms, which I'm going to announce now. Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon, as well as www.estiquemedia.com. So why don't you rush in there, love, like, share, comment. You can actually make referrals and possibly critique most of the contents that are put on there. The idea is to have a conversation with you and let me know what you think concerning the conversations I've been having, especially on YouTube, especially the virtual ones. I will actually like to know what you think. Okay, so this particular episode is concerning the police who have eventually explained the true state or the true situation that caused Imola's death, that is Mohbad. As of today, the police have given us a full breakdown based on the investigations they carried out on most of the prime suspects. They had about 25 prime suspects, and they have gone through all the interview sessions, all the investigations they've answered, and apparently it boils down to one person. Now, based on how the whole thing was explained, it obviously feels like it was more of carelessness and mistake by all the persons surrounding Mohbad. And it's quite unfortunate as to something that could have been prevented, but it wasn't. So I'm going to read it out to you because I'm not the one who actually brought out the report. It's a statement by the police giving us a full breakdown of what transpired or what they concluded from the investigations they've carried out. So on the 10th of September 2023, Ile Rioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, also known as Mohbad, attended a musical concert at Ikorodu Town Hall at about 9 p.m. on the invitation of Soso Bereko, that is Soso Bereko, to promote a General Bitters beverage. Now, Mohbad arrived at the venue of the event at about 7 p.m. in company of his wife, Mrs. Cynthia Omowumi Adebanjo, and their 5-month-old baby, his childhood friend, Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owoduni, whom you do know as Prime Boy, and Mohbad's personal assistant, Adeyemo Boluwatife, also known as Darosa, all of whom were in the Prado Jeep, which was hired by Mohbad for the event and driven by Fidelix Esambo. Now, others that accompanied Mohbad in separate vehicles include Ayobami Sodiq, also known as Spending, Aduragbemi Shedrack Aloba, Mohbad's younger brother, Ajis Shagiri Sultan Ayobami, Mohbad's DJ, Aderinto Fawaz Ademola Adewest, of course, Mohbad's friend, and Olaruwaju Idris Adedoja, also known as OG, that is his photographer. All the musical acts that performed along with Mohbad at that particular show at Ikorodu that evening included Zlatan, Seun Kuti, and DJ Fokati. Now, at the end of the performance, which was around 11 p.m., he made to exit the venue with his entourage. However, in the process of exiting the venue, Mohbad discovered that his vehicle had been blocked by other vehicles, while some of his fans and area boys also mobbed him. That is, mobbing him means like they gathered him, they surrounded him. Now, Mohbad, who, from witnesses' evidence at that particular event, when he was trying to exit, was said to be tipsy and happened to be hyperactive. Now, it is not surprising for some of those actors to be tipsy. Sometimes it takes something. The idea is to possibly give them that spore, that energy to entertain the audience, to, push them, motivate them so they're not tired. So sometimes it could get overboard and it could possibly be like a normal thing for some of those artists to do. So remember, he was tipsy, had taken something alcoholic, he had taken something that was not normal sort of at the time for him. So he was tipsy, hyperactive, and in such a situation, he became infuriated as he attempted to calm down to clear the road. So he was angry as to how the mob surrounded him and his vehicle that kind of blocked his car. So he was angry at that because he just wanted to get out of the venue and go home. So meanwhile, Ibrahim, which we all know as Prime Boy, prevailed on him for security reasons that, oh, Mohbad, you can't go out there on your own to clear the crowd. It is basically uncalled for, you definitely know that there could be anybody there with any harmful object that could hurt you. So let me do it for you, right? And then it also, that process, what a friend was saying, infuriated Mohbad, which degenerated into a hot argument, and a physical fight ensued between the both of them. Now, in the course of an attempt to hit his friend with a blow, you're trying to blow somebody, the person possibly ducked, and then his hand hits the vehicle or the Prado Jeep, that is Mohbad's Jeep. So Mohbad missed and, smashed the rear window of their Prado Jeep, which caused him to have an injury on his forehand. That is here. He had an injury on his forehand and he bled profusely. Imagine a hand, hitting a glass with such force. Eventually, the situation, it was brought under control and everyone departed for the Lekki residence of Mohbad, but excluding Ibrahim. Now, if you had followed Ibrahim's interview while he actually went to the police station to tender his own testimony as to what he observed during that particular event on that fateful day at the Korodu. He said that due to the argument they had, that Robert asked him to come down from the vehicle, asked him to leave. So he said he left because Mobad was angry with him. So he wasn't part of the entourage that accompanied Mobad home. All right. So upon arrival at his residence at about 2 a.m., you know how this event can be. Before you know, time is gone. Before you get to where you want to get to, it's already way early in the morning. So upon his arrival at his home at 2 a.m. on the 11th of September, now this is the police's report, so they will definitely include dates, and these dates are given by the individuals that they investigated and interrogated in the course of the interview. So, on that is 11th of September 2023, Mobad refused to go to the hospital to treat his injury despite persistent persuasion by his wife, staff, and friends, including the Prado Jeep driver whose vehicle was damaged. Later in the day, the injured hand was still bleeding and is getting swollen, which was causing Mobad unbearable pains. Now, I don't want to speak on behalf of Mobad because I don't know the reason why you would refuse to go to the hospital with that hand. Maybe he's used to injuries and he felt this is one of those injuries that will, definitely dissolve and get away, or he could bear it. And then when his nurse or his health caretaker who takes care of him anytime he has any of those injuries comes around, then, that will be treated. But this time around, the hand was getting swollen. Mobad was in serious pains. And remember that the night before, Mobad actually took something. He was sort of high. Meanwhile, his friend called Spending, that is Ayobami Sadiq, who noticed the increasing pains that Mobad was going through, insisted that he should go to the hospital for treatment. Mobad, however, resisted. He opted to call his personal nurse. The nurse name is Nurse Fumi, who unfortunately at the time he called her was unavailable. Like I told you, some of these artists, they have people who take care of them. They have people who have to look after them whenever they have any injury. They really don't like to go to the hospital sometimes. They possibly for security reasons, sometimes for privacy reasons. They don't want anyone to see that there's something wrong with them. I think it's an aesthetic, is something that has to do with aesthetics. Aesthetics is the image you have to put out there, the whatever you need to portray for people to see. Some of those artists just show you what they want you to see. They don't really show you how things really are. So sometimes this could be part of it. Now, so apparently, when Mobad resisted and opted to call his personal nurse, the nurse unfortunately was unavailable. Ayobami Sadiq, that is Spending, offered to call his own nurse. Her name is Miss Feishayo Ogedengbe to attend to Mobad. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce her name right. I'm not I'm not Yoruba, I'm so sorry, and a suggestion that he, Mobad, consented to. So Mobad eventually agreed that his friend Spending should call his own nurse. Now, when Miss Fayshire was contacted at about, let's say, 2:30, 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, that's 14:30 hours. So 14 is actually 2 p.m. in the afternoon, 2 p.m. that on Monday, 11th of September. She was also unavailable at the time she was contacted, but she promised to come the following day, and the following day is the 12th of September 2023, being Tuesday. Now, ahead of her arrival, she requested that the picture of the swollen hand and the injury, the area that is swollen and bleeding profusely, be snapped and forwarded to her for assessment and to guide on the medication to come along with. Now, this, of course, was done by spending and whoever, and they sent it to her. At about 2:35 p.m. on that particular Tuesday, September 12th, Miss Faye Shayo eventually arrived armed with, now, I'm not a doctor, so these drugs are something else. Based on the police report, which was put in the public space for everyone to have access to, they said that she arrived with one pack of ceftriaxone injection, one vial paracetamol injection, tetanus toxoid injection, one vial procaine penicillin, seven ampoules of iron diclofenac, tincture iodine, and needles slash syringes. Now, Ms. Fairshire administered the tetanus toxoid on the arm of Mohbad and gave both the paracetamol and ceftriaxone injection intravenously. Intravenously, that's through the vein. Hmm. Now, immediately the ceftriaxone injection was administered, Ms. Fairshire confirmed that Mohbad started vomiting while goosebumps appeared on the face. You know, goosebumps, those things that look like chicken skin. They just appeared on his face and all over his body. And, he started vomiting and she became worried. She realized that, oh, apparently Mohbad reacts to a drug like this. So when she discovered it at that point, it dawned on her that Mohbad was reacting to the drug she administered. So, because of that, she ran to procure hydrol and nisaline infusion, possibly to dilute the medication she had given to Mohbad. Possibly, if it's diluted, it will no longer be too strong for him. I think at that point in time, the medication she administered to Mohbad was toxic for his system, and that was hence the reaction Mohbad was already displaying. While at the pharmacy, so she ran out to go to the pharmacy within the area, or that is within Mohbad's vicinity, that's his house. And she got a call while she was there. She got a call that Mohbad was convulsing. Now, when somebody starts convulsing, it means that situation is serious. If something is not given to dissolve whatever it is that's going through that person, possibly oxygen could stop being administered through the body. That's from the brain. Oxygen could stop right in there, and that's where things gets worse. So when that happened, eventually it's Cynthia Omoduni Adibanjo, Aduragbemi Shadrach Aloba, Olaruwaju Idris Adedoja, Ayinde Habib Idowu Damola, Aderinto Fawaz Ademola, and Miss Feishayo rushed him to the hospital in the vehicle of one of their neighbor, whose name is Chinaka Jesse. He's an engineer. Unfortunately, Mohbad was pronounced dead on arrival at Pyramid Hospital, Lekki. Now, this is what I think happened. Mohbad's nurse, I'm sure she knows the kind of medication she gives to Mohbad whenever he has incurred injuries. You do know that Mohbad had gone through a couple of bullying, beatings by some of these boys from Naira Marley's group most times. And so it's like anytime that happens, his nurse knows the drugs she administers to him. Anytime he receives punches on his stomach, on his head, he has gotten several injuries before. The nurse actually knows, the kind of drugs she administers to Mohbad. Unfortunately, because she was not around and it was Spendings, that is one of Mohbad's friends' nurse that came, when she saw the picture that was sent to her, she felt, okay, this injury is serious. Tetanus is needed. It means that that wound was infected. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying based on the kind of drugs that she brought in. I think a doctor, any doctor, any medical practitioner, or anybody who understands medicine listening to this video or watching this video can help us explain with the drugs that were mentioned in here to see if the nurse's combination was toxic or if she didn't take precautionary measures before injecting Mohbad with those drugs. Possibly she could have done it in intermission, that is one after the other. Maybe it was too much as she administered all the drugs at once to Mohbad's, flooding Mohbad's system with it. Now, unfortunately, like I was telling you before, Mohbad was pronounced dead on arrival at Pyramid Hospital, Lekki. However, his friends not convinced. I mean, it's like I just saw this guy. We were good. How can a hand injury make this boy die? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So they were like, we don't believe that Mohbad is dead. How is he dead? This boy was just alive. How did he die? And then they went to another hospital where, of course, that is Perez Hospital in Lekki, where his death was also recertified. and a death certificate was later issued by Curamed Hospital. Now, Mohbad's father, who had earlier been contacted, came to late Mohbad's house, and after a short meeting, because the young boy resolved to move the body to Ikorodu for burial, which was done the following day, the 13th of September 2023, at about 2 p.m. Now, based on all of this that happened, or whatever it is that the police had eventually concluded on, it's obvious that there was serious carelessness that occurred when it came to this situation with Mohbad. Secondly, I don't know why Mohbad wasn't taken to the hospital. Another thing that bears to mind is in the course of this entire debacle, when the case was very hot, there was a voice note that circulated on social media of one man who said he saw Mohbad in the hospital alive. Said he even took pictures with Mohbad. Said he when he got across to Mohbad, he said Mohbad looked really, really down, but that Mohbad was very accommodating towards him, and that Mohbad was taken inside. That the next thing, after a few minutes, he saw nurses parading up and down, running all over the place. Everybody was, just there were different body languages that he could see there. And the next thing, they took Mohbad out, and it was while he was in the hospital he heard that Mohbad had passed on. And he was like, how? This is somebody I just met. I don't know how true that information was. Because if, based on the police report and based on the investigations that have been carried out by his friends and all those that were around him, obviously Mohbad did not go to the hospital. And at the time he arrived at the hospital, he was already dead. The two hospitals he was taken to, he was brought in dead. The last time Mohbad was seen alive was in his house. And after he was given that injection, the intravenous injection, that was when he started convulsing. And then, of course, when someone is convulsing, you take the person to the hospital and they say the person is dead. So, who did that particular individual see in the hospital when he said Mohbad was brought in alive? Who did he see? That's the question we're asking. Who did that individual see that he called as Mohbad is alive? He literally said he greeted Mohbad, or he looked down. Mohbad responded when he greeted him, and that Mohbad, he wanted to take a picture. He said, in fact, he said he took a picture with Mohbad, and then the next day Mohbad went in, but he looked really down. So who did that man see? That's a big question. He sounded so convincing. He was crying. He was bitter, and we could feel the man's reaction. So that is something that, and we never saw the face of that individual who made that voice note that circulated on social media. Secondly, who is a person that released the was it not Instablog Niger that released the cause of Mohbad's death by saying Mohbad died by an ear infection? Who gave Instablog Niger or whatever blog that carried it out? I don't know if it's Instablog Niger or whatever blog that carried that particular headline, that circulation, that he died of an ear infection. Based on all the investigations that was carried out and all the relay that all of the individuals that were interrogated by the police, nobody mentioned anything that has to do with the ear. This is his fist, his hand, not head, not ear, not lip, not the back of his skull, his hand. So where did the ear infection come from? Who released that statement? Who gave that headline? Who is the person that said Mohbad died of an ear infection? So I don't know if based on the police report is satisfactory for anyone, but the police have done their bits, and based on all the questions they have asked, based on the follow up they have done, the person who seemed to have supposedly killed Mohbad due to either carelessness or due to the fact that she doesn't understand Mohbad's body makeup is the friend's nurse, the nurse who administered the drugs that she administered to Mohbad. It is what she gave to him that made him to start vomiting. The body first of all reacted, and of course the next thing he started convulsing. So that is the prime suspect at this point in time concerning Mohbad's death. It's quite unfortunate that preventable situations like this degenerates to a point that somebody loses their life. And if Nigerians hadn't clamored and said, we want to know how Mohbad died, we're asking for an investigation, it would have just gone like that. Nobody would have known what happened. Nobody would have been able to pinpoint exactly the cause of death. Because when various stories were flying all over on social media, We couldn't knit it. What I mean knit it, it couldn't be, there was no sequence. It wasn't making sense. What happened to Mohbad between that night he went for the event with Susu Berako, the General Beaters event that he covered, and Tuesday morning that he was pronounced dead. What happened? There were speculations that Mohbad was beaten by a group of people after the show. There were also speculations that because of the beating, a nurse was called in to give him an injection, and that's basically why he died. Maybe the injection plus the wound. There were all manner of speculations out there. So if the police hadn't gone through this entire process of asking questions and all of that, we may not really know the truth, and the boy would have just been buried the way he was buried. I do hope that Imole, that is light, a light of God, finds peace. I do hope that wherever he is in the bosom of the Lord Almighty, that he's at rest, and that this particular investigation would have helped solve, the dissatisfaction in the minds of a lot of Nigerians as to how that young boy with so much gift and so much talent passed on. All right. So I that's basically the update at the moment concerning Mohbad's death. Possibly the police will still carry on with more investigations. We'll get to know more updates on what transpired. But I want to say congratulations to Nigerians for pushing this through, for insisting that this must be carried out, for insisting that this investigation must stay on. I want to congratulate everyone for going on the streets supporting the fact that they needed to find out truly what happened with Mohbad. And a couple of things were also exposed. The cultists and fraternity state of the music industry, the happenings that goes on within the camp of Naira Marley and them like the Sam Larry individual, whom a lot of persons too came out to confirm he's a bully, how they use these young boys for a lot of nonsense that they carry on, how they use these boys to carry drugs and send them to their early doom, mentally destabilize them like they did to one of the DJs, young DJs there, whom we saw that Mrs. Iyabo went to visit in his home. She interviewed him. You could hear how the boy was speaking. At some point, he seemed not to be properly coordinated. He's going through his treatment. That's because they get exposed to all manner of vices at a very early age. So most of this exposure was brought up because of the passing of Mohbad, the maltreatment, the bullying, the harassment, the stress that the young boy went through. All the while, he decided to break out from, Naira Marley's musical record and stuff like that. So it was because Nigerians clamored for it, and they made sure that the truth or the whatever it was that happened were brought to light and exposed the ruts and a lot of anomalies that takes place in the Nigerian music space. Hopefully, this particular incident with Mohbad would help sanitize how the music world works. Hopefully, how these record labels do their thing, how they bring in their artists, how they treat their artists, and even the artists themselves, I think, will be more conscious now. They'll understand the essence of being legally proactive before they get signed up into any record label. They will have to understand that, in as much as they seem desperate to sign on with a popular record label, that they just want their music out there, they must read through the rules of engagement and whatever online measures that will be on their legal document with a certified lawyer before any signature is done, so that no one falls short at the end of the day from the contract signed with any of these record labels. All right. Have yourself a beautiful day. Have fun. Bye.